I hope you enjoyed my first video, Winners versus Losers, and today I come to talk to you about lessons from my biggest mistake. This video will not focus on what my biggest mistake was, because I do talk about that in my upcoming book, American Dreamer. But this video will focus on the things that I learned from my biggest mistake. That's what I really want to focus on. I want to focus on what did I learn from my biggest mistake. In life, yes, we all make mistakes. Whether they're big or small, we make mistakes. Almost on any given day, you will make a mistake. Because, yes, we are human, and yes, we do make mistakes. But what I've learned from my biggest mistake is, number one, when I made that mistake I made in 2006, I fell back on something that I said I wasn't going to do. And I think that was part of the biggest mistake that I made. But what I learned and what I took from that when I did that was that we should always stick to what we say we're going to do. We have plans and we have goals in life, and we say, I am going to, next year I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or next year I'm going to become a better person, or next year, you know what, I'm going to go back to school. We have those ideas in our mind, but when it comes to putting them, in action and making them happen, what happens? We fall back on what we say we're going to do. Or maybe we have some things in life that we say we're not going to do. I'm not going to ever smoke cigarettes. I'm not going to ever eat dark chocolate. I'm not going to ever eat any more meat. I am not going to allow that person to affect me the way they do. But what do? We fall back on what we say we're going to do. And that's what happened to me. That's what I allowed myself to do. I allowed myself to go against my own word. And your word is your bond. So when you say you're going to do something, or even if you say that you're not going to do something, you need to stick to that plan. And that's what I learned from my mistake, is that, Danielle, stick to your plan. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're not going to do something, don't do it. Another thing that I learned from the mistake I made in 2006 was that I guess I made excuses for the mistake. Oh, we're human. You hear that a lot. We're all human. Humans make mistakes. Yes, humans make mistakes, but wise people don't continue to make the same mistake. And unfortunately, that's what I ended up doing. I made an excuse, and with that excuse that I made, I fell back. I regressed, and I continued to make the same mistake over and over and over again, and it has cost me so much. So much. I won't even begin to go into detail. I may talk about that in my second book, the sequel to American Dreamer, but it really has cost me so much. And I learned that we can't make excuses for ourselves. When we make mistakes, we need to own our mistake, take responsibility, be willing to, look at the mistake, but not focus so much on the mistake as opposed to what did you learn from the mistake, because mistakes happen to teach us something. And if we don't take anything from the mistake that we made, we're more often or more than likely to repeat that same mistake. And so that's the second thing. The third thing was support. Where was the support that I had from my so-called friends? Where was the support that I had from people in my life who I allowed to be in my life? People who were placed in my life for a reason. Where were they? Those people I didn't have. I didn't know where they were. I made a mistake, and it was a big mistake. And you would think, okay, when you make a mistake in life, if the people who are closest to you, they will say, well, Danielle, you're falling back. What's going on, Danielle? You said you were not going to do that, and you're doing it. I said you're doing it. Where were those people at? And I think, oftentimes, we do look for other people to hold our hand and to give us that extra push, but sometimes we don't have that. And that's what I learned, that you won't always have that support that you think that you should have, or that support that was supposed to be there. it's like when the mistake happened or when you fall on the ground, you have to pick your own stuff up. And that's what I ended up having to do. I ended up having to pick myself up. I ended up making a mistake, looking around and saying, and noticing that there was no one to be that accountability partner, you know, that I needed to say, Danielle, I noticed that you said you weren't going to do that, and, you know, I noticed that you've been doing it and you've been doing it a lot lately. What's going on? You know, somebody that cares enough, somebody who sees that you have a vision, someone who sees your vision, and they know that there are some things that you can't do, that you're not supposed to do, some things that may hurt, you know, your vision or hinder your vision, and they kind of watch out for those things. They basically take your life in their best interest, and they care, and they show that they care because they speak up, and they care enough about your life to, as if it's their very own, you know, to speak up. That's the third thing. And the fourth thing, I think, was simply just to take something from what I learned from my biggest mistake, was that no matter what mistake that you make in life, there's always a second chance to get it back right. Yes, we make mistakes, we learn from them, but if we don't learn anything else from our mistake, the biggest thing that we should learn was that we have another chance at getting it back right. And that's what I learned. That's what I will always embrace about life, is that we are given another chance to get it back right until we die, until our heart makes its last beat. We still have that chance to, you know, make the wrongs right. And so, although I fell back on my mistake, although I went against something that I said I wasn't going to do, although I somehow didn't own responsibility and I attributed it to me just being human, and the mistake continued, although there weren't people in my life who I expected to be there but weren't, you know, the biggest thing that I guess I could learn from my mistake was I still have another chance to get it back right. And if you don't take anything from this video, anything else from this video, I do want you to understand and to know that in life, we are given so many chances and we make mistakes. And when you make a mistake, don't focus so much on the mistake itself as you do the lesson you learn from it. Because that's the most important thing, is that when you make a mistake, that you learn from it. What was the outcome of that mistake? And I think that's the biggest gift out of any mistake that any person can make, is that there's a lesson attached to it. And the lesson that I learned, and one of the biggest lessons that I have learned, you know, from my mistake, was that, hey, Danielle, you were given a second chance to get it back right. And it's not that other people give you another chance, it's that you give yourself another chance. It's that you have to forgive yourself. If God has forgiven you, it's time for you to forgive yourself and you to move forward. And so I just want to share that with you. I didn't want to make this a very long video. Just something, you know, from the heart, and something from personal experience. And I hope that you could be richly blessed by it, and that you were, you know, richly blessed by it. And you can share the video, you know, on your Facebook page. Feel free also to send me your video topics, and if is there anything that you want me to talk about, I want to make this clear, that feel free that you can email me and send me ideas for different things that you would like to hear me talk about and see me talk about. Sometimes I'll just come up and make up a topic, you know, maybe if I don't have any suggestions in my inbox or my email, I'll make up a topic. But if there are suggestions in my inbox or my email, and I see that, you know, it could be a good idea for a video topic, I will use it. So go ahead, send me your ideas and your topics at authordleach, L-E-A-C-H, at gmail.com. authordleach@gmail.com. If you are on Facebook, you can also send me an inbox. If we're friends, and you should know if we're friends or not on Facebook, just inbox me and, you know, I'll consider it. Other than that, I hope you have a great day on this Friday, November 18th. And until next time, be blessed.